Hey everyone, I'm the Entertainment Geek, and welcome back to another video. Today I'll be going over all the movies I watched during the month of March. This month I watched a wide variety of movies, stemming from one of the greatest animated movies of the last decade, a drama about a washed-up actor, and a traumatic kids movie. But before we get into this, once again, I'm still stuffy, so I apologize. And also, if you enjoy this video, please like and subscribe, and comment down below if you agree or disagree with my thoughts, or if you have never seen some of these movies. But now let's get into it. So we're going to start with the decent category. The first movie in this category is Batman and Superman: Battle of the Super Sons. This is an animated DC movie that came out last year. The movie is overall alright. The dynamic between Damian Wayne and Jonathan Kent is very well written and is probably the best part of the movie. The story is pretty fun as well. My only major complaint is the animation style. I did not like it at all. I prefer like the usual DC animated style, but this one they tried something different and I didn't like it at all. My rating would have been a 4 if the animation was to my liking. I gave this 3.5 out of 5 stars. The next movie in this category is The Last Dragon. I want to start off by saying that Sho'nuff is the most underrated villain in cinematic history. This movie may be ridiculous, but it's ridiculous in a good way. There's no way someone wouldn't find something enjoyable about this movie. And I absolutely love the mix between the Kung Fu and the MTV vibes that this movie has. I highly recommend this movie because it's just such a fun time. It may or may not be on HBO Max. I don't know if it left it or not, but I watched it on HBO Max if you want to see it. But I gave this 3.5 out of 5 stars. The last movie in this category is Waiting for the Barbarians. This is a very interesting movie to say the least. This movie is definitely a slow burner, and I wouldn't say it's for everyone, so the story is interesting enough in my opinion that left me able to watch it. And the way they present the theme is also very interesting. The performances by Mark Rylance is phenomenal, and the small roles from Johnny Depp and Robert Pattinson, yes, they are in this movie, were also really good. I'd say that the performances really carried the movie for me. The cinematography was also pretty good. It's overall a decent movie, but it really could have been better, but I gave this 3.5 out of 5 stars. It's on Hulu, by the way, if you're interested in it. But that concludes the decent category. Now we're on to the good, and we're going to start it off with the one and only Bloodsport. This may be cheesy, stupid, and really bad, but I don't care because I love this movie. It's the perfect thing to watch to brighten your mood, and I also want to be a part of a cheesy montage and end with me doing the splits on the roof of a really tall building. If you've seen it, you'll understand what scene I'm talking about. The soundtrack is really good. It's just basically an 80s vibe all around, and I highly recommend this movie if you enjoy really cheesy movies because it's so entertaining because it's bad. But the next movie in this category are the first and second National Treasure movies. Now, for those of you who don't know, I'm on a mission to watch every Nicolas Cage film. Right now, I'm only on like 12 or 13 movies. And so I have a really long way to go because he's credited in like over 100 movies. But I watched these two for that reason. As far as the movies go, they're both equally great. They are amazing adventure films. I would say that the second one is better, which is a little bit of a hot take, but I remember that one more for some reason. I think it's because it was on TV more often, so I actually remember that more. Nicolas Cage definitely carries both movies, but the supporting cast is also pretty good. And these are just very iconic movies. I just really want to know what is on page 47. They didn't answer that. But yeah, I gave both of these films 4 stars. So the next movie is Mandy. This is another Nicolas Cage film, and it's definitely an indie film, but it's really good. Nicolas Cage is actually like perfect in this. The cinematography is so beautiful and vibrant. The gore is amazing as well. The performances were also really good. I do have some complaints though. It is a bit slow, and especially in the beginning, and it doesn't really pick up till like the second half when the violence and stuff starts to happen. And it's definitely one of those movies where you have to have an open mind going into it, because it's very weird. I probably would have rated this higher, but I watched it on Pluto TV, which has ads, and I had to sit through many Burger King ads. I am not joking. The famous, infamous Burger King ads, I had to sit through those. And it really ruined the tension and everything, because they put it at the wrong times. Not that there's a right time to put ads in movies, but yeah, I gave this 4 out of 5. I'm still very annoyed by that, if you cannot tell. The next movie in this category is Shazam! Fury of the Gods. Now, I made a whole separate 4-minute video, so go and watch that if you haven't already. It's very short, so I mean, you're not going to waste a whole lot of time watching it. And I said like my main opinions on that in that video, so I'm not going to restate it. All I'll say is that this movie is fun but very flawed, and it was released at the very wrong time, so I still gave it 4 out of 5, but I'm very optimistic and very biased against DC movies. So now the last movie in this category is a little different from the others because it's a documentary. The documentary is Into the Deep, the submarine murder case. Now this documentary is very interesting given the fact that it did not start out as a crime documentary. The documentary is about Peter Madsen, a famous entrepreneur / inventor, and it started out with the director interviewing him as he was trying to become the first amateur astronaut. But it quickly takes a turn when Madsen gets arrested for murder in the middle of all of this. And the documentary is very intriguing because it shows the reaction of the people around, because he had a bunch of interns working for him, and how they processed what happened and what went on, because they did not expect him to be like a murderer, obviously, because he was a very charismatic dude, and so people loved him for that. And the ending of this documentary is absolutely insane and bone-chilling. And I just highly recommend this documentary. It's on Netflix, because the ending itself is just, it's great. But I gave this 4 out of 5 stars. But that concludes the good category. Now we're on to the greats. The next movie in this category is Minority Report. Now this is a very interesting premise done right. The execution is really good. The movie does feel a little long, but I was along for the ride. Tom Cruise is fantastic, and so is Colin Farrell. There's also some great comedic moments in this as well. The score is also really good. What's funny is I actually called out one of the twists in this movie as a joke, and I turned out to be right. And dare I say, I found this more enjoyable than Blade Runner, but yeah, I won't go too into that. Very controversial, but whatever. I gave this movie 4.5 out of 5 stars. Now the next movie in this category is The Quick and the Dead. This is a movie that This movie I'm very baffled with because of the fact that no one talks about this movie. This is a Western directed by Sam Raimi. What more could you want? Oh, and did I mention that Gene Hackman and Russell Crowe are in this? Like, this is a very cheesy movie, but it's very fun and entertaining. And Raimi's style of direction makes this movie so good. The performances were great. Sharon Stone as a lead she's just amazing. The action is great. I just wish there was more of it, but the story makes up for it. Please go watch this if you haven't already. It's a great Western. I gave this 4.5 out of 5 stars. The next movie in this category is The Assassination of Jesse James by the Coward Robert Ford. Long title aside, this is a great movie. Casey Affleck is so underrated in my opinion as an actor because his performance is just phenomenal. The performances by everyone else is phenomenal too, especially Brad Pitt and Sam Rockwell. They're just amazing in this. The cinematography and score is incredible. It's definitely a slow burner, but it's worth it. And if you like Westerns or slow burners, then I highly recommend this movie. But I gave this 4.5 out of 5 stars. The next movie in this category is Swiss Army Man. I never knew a movie with so much farting would be so beautiful. This is definitely a movie you need to have an open mind when watching, because yes, it's very weird, but it's just phenomenal. The music and cinematography elevate everything. The message is really well done. It takes some of the uncomfortable things and topics and shed them into a different light. And Paul Dano and Daniel Radcliffe are just phenomenal in this movie. This movie is just so captivating. I love this movie. Is just so good. If you haven't watched it, please do. But I, of course, gave this 4.5 out of 5 stars. The next movie in this category is Roadhouse. Now, I first saw like the beginning of this movie at 2 a.m. On TV, and I was very intrigued, so I chose to watch it during the month of March. And I absolutely love this movie. Patrick Swayze is so good in this, and seeing Sam Elliott was a pleasant surprise. I can see where some people might find some parts boring, but I just love the entire story. The villain in this movie is such a hateable character, and the action is well done, and the comedic moments were really good. And this is overall just a great movie. I definitely recommend it. And you get to see Patrick Swayze shirtless, so what more do you want, you know? I gave this 4.5 out of 5 stars. The next movie in this category is Snowpiercer. Now, I've wanted to watch this movie since I saw the theory that it's connected to Willy Wonka. And I saw that video about 5 years ago, so I've wanted to watch this for a super long time. Bong Joon-ho does a fantastic job directing this. The story, although very long, is really good, and I was able to pay attention to every second of it. Chris Evans and Song Kang-ho are phenomenal in this, as well as the other actors. The special effects are also really good for the time that it came out. Overall, it's a fantastic movie, and it lived up to my very high expectations. Overall, it's a fantastic movie, and it definitely lived up to my expectations. I gave this 4.5 out of 5 stars. The next movie in this category is Southpaw. So basically, before I watched this, I didn't read anything into it, so I was not expecting this movie to be as depressing as it is. But safe to say, Jake Gyllenhaal gives a powerful performance. It's definitely the best I've seen from him, but I haven't seen many of his movies, so take that with a grain of salt. Forrest Whitaker is also really good in this movie, and I highly recommend it. It's a great boxing movie. because like the ending, I was like on the edge of my seat, and yeah, it was just really good. I gave that movie 4.5 out of 5 stars. Now, the last movie in this category is Watership Down. This is the darkest kids movie I've ever seen, and I think it is in the whole world ever so far, but it's phenomenal. The movie features an oppressive society, lots of death, and tons of blood. Perfect for a kids movie. If I saw this when I was 10 years old, I would definitely be scarred for life. Thank God I didn't. But this movie is very captivating. The animation and score are phenomenal. The story is really good. I'm a fan of really dark stories, so I really love this movie. My only complaint is the pacing is a little messy towards the beginning, but I overall loved this movie. I think it's a fantastic film. I gave this movie 4.5 out of 5 stars. But now we get to the perfect category. And the first movie to start this off is La La Land. Yes, I rewatched it, and yes, everything I said is still true. In my February video, I watched La La Land for the first time, and yeah, I loved it so much I had to see it again. So I of course gave this 5 out of 5 stars. It's literally perfect. But the next movie in this category is a stand-up comedy special, which is Steve Martin and Martin Short's An Evening You Will Forget for the Rest of Your Life. Now this comedy special is really good. I'm incredibly biased though because I love these two so much. They have such good chemistry together. The entire act is just a bunch of random stuff, but it's really entertaining, and they bounce off of each other really well. I loved seeing them showcase their musical talents as well, because Martin Short performed a song number for the audience, and Steve Martin played the banjo, which is, both were really good. Overall, it's a great comedy special. It's the first one I've written a review on, so I have no idea what to look out for this, but I gave it 5 stars because I just love these two so much. But yeah, the next movie in this category is Monty Python and the Holy Grail. Now this was a rewatch, and I really love this movie. It's one of my favorite comedies ever. Please watch this if you haven't already. It may be stupid, but it's stupid for a good reason. It's just hilarious. I watched it during school, and I was also wearing my Monty Python shirt, so it just felt even more special. But yeah, I gave this 5 out of 5 stars, of course. Now, the next movie in this category is Everything Everywhere All at Once. This definitely delivered, even with my high expectations. Ke Huy Quan definitely deserved the Oscar he won because he is just amazing. Michelle Yeoh is also perfect in this. I love the absurdity and weirdness of the movie. It's so creative, and I just wish I was able to see this in theaters. And yeah, this movie is basically almost perfect. So I gave this 5 out of 5 stars. Definitely recommend it if you haven't watched it already. But the next movie in this category is The Grand Budapest Hotel. As you can see, yeah. This movie is all the words that mean beautiful in the English and all other languages dictionary. I love Wes Anderson's style of filmmaking. It's very unique, and the story is a little all over the place, but it's done in a way where it's fun and engaging. The performances were phenomenal. I was quite surprised by the amount of stars in this movie as well. Ralph Fiennes was perfect. Tony Revolori is also amazing. I definitely prefer him in movies like this than in Spider-Man. I want to see him in more stuff. But yeah, this movie is just mesmerizing and really good. Highly recommend it if you haven't seen it already. It's great. Yeah, but this movie is just overall like mesmerizing and fantastic and beautiful and phenomenal. I could keep going. It definitely deserves all the praise it gets. So I of course rated this 5 out of 5 stars. The next movie in this category is Puss in Boots: The Last Wish. This movie has restored my faith in animation. The animation is beautiful, very different from the first movie, but I like it. The score is phenomenal. I loved how they handled the more mature themes, and each of the characters were done super well. A character like Perito, which is the dog in the movie. Characters like him are usually very annoying, but he's actually done like really well. I actually liked his character. I think you should definitely watch this. It's like one of the best animated movies of the last decade. And yeah, the next movie in this category is Birdman, or The Unexpected Virtue of Ignorance. The camera work alone in this movie makes this a 5-star movie, but the performances by Michael Keaton and Edward Norton and the entire rest of the cast, as well as the score, makes this even better. The story is really good, and the climax made my jaw literally drop. I had to pick it up, you know. I highly recommend this movie. Please watch it if you haven't already. It's super good. I of course gave this 5 out of 5 stars. Now, the last movie in this category and of this video is The Secret Life of Walter Mitty. This movie, it's really good. I think I found the movie I relate to the most. The main character, played by Ben Stiller, is someone who struggles with social anxiety and often finds his mind wandering. And that is something that I used to and am still going through. As the movie progresses, though, he starts to become a more social person, and he loses him daydreaming and all that stuff. And I can relate to this as well, because over the past few years I've been doing more things, putting myself out there more, and I've overcome a lot of my social anxiety. This YouTube thing is a part of that. Thank you, by the way. I don't want to go off on a tangent or anything. I'll leave that for another video, but the story is amazing. The cinematography and score are fantastic. The story flows along perfectly. The change in Walter is subtle and done really well. The comedy is awkward, but in a good way. The delivery just makes it great. I highly recommend this movie because it is literally perfect. It's directed by Ben Stiller as well, so he is great as a director. I really recommend this movie because, especially if you have or if you deal with social anxiety, it can help you put a new perspective of it and stuff like that. And this movie also is very uplifting. It makes you want to get up and go do something. It's great. I gave this 5 out of 5 stars, and it was the best movie I watched this month. Well, yeah, that concludes today's video. If you enjoyed it, please like and subscribe, and comment down below if you agree, disagree with my takes, or if there's a movie you haven't seen that you want to go check out. This is probably going to be a new format, because I enjoy this. This makes it easier for me to talk about multiple movies at once. So stay tuned for April's video next month. But yeah, hope you have a great day. Keep watching movies. Toodles!